Board of Trustees, October 24th, 2022 meeting. Clerk Kornecki, please call the roll.
Trustee Silella?
Here.
Trustee Corkery?
Here.
Trustee Kozar?
Here.
Trustee Kumar? Trustee Murphy? Here. Trustee Patrick?
Here.
President Kazone?
Here. And please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then please remain standing. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this evening. May we have meaningful discussions that will help us to assist our village in these trying times. Help us to make the decisions that will affect the staff, directors, and the residents of Villa Park. Guide us through the challenges we face, and may we approach each other with respect and kindness as one group. In your name, amen. Amen. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we have a kind of a bittersweet moment this evening. We have our Fire Chief Ron Rakosnick. It'll be his last meeting here tonight. But I have a resolution that I'd like to read, recognizing Fire Chief Ron Rakosnick upon his retirement. Whereas in 1975, yeah. 1975, Chief Rakosnick joined the York Center Fire Protection District, where he worked until 1999, leaving at the rank of Assistant Chief. And whereas Chief Rakosnick then joined the Wilmette Fire Department in 1982, before joining the Lombard Fire Department in 1985. And whereas Chief Rakosnick served in the Lombard Fire Department for over 27 years, earning the rank of Battalion Chief before leaving in 2012. And whereas in June 2012, he was sworn in as Fire Chief for the Villa Park Fire Department. And whereas Chief Rakosnick has dedicated the last 10 years as a tireless advocate for the Villa Park Fire Department, advocating for an equipment replacement program, part-time firefighters to assist in addressing manpower, and a robust training program. And whereas Chief Rakosnick is well known for his sense of humor, professionalism, compassion, and his commitment to the communities in which he lives and serves. And whereas the Village of Villa Park, its Board of Trustees and staff, would like to recognize and express appreciation to Chief Rakosnick's contributions to the betterment of Villa Park. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Nick Kazone, President of the Village of Villa Park, along with the Board of Trustees, do hereby deem it an honor and a privilege to present this proclamation to Chief Ron Rakosnick on this occasion of his retirement, with sincere congratulations and best wishes for his next endeavors. And Chief, congratulations. I'd like to turn it over to Deputy Chief Stapleton. He's got a few comments he'd like to make.
All right, thank you, President Kazone, Manager Harlan, members of the board. It was a little over 10 years ago that Ron Rakosnick was sworn in as our fire chief for the Villa Park Fire Department. This Thursday, Chief Ron will be retiring from the fire department and will start the next chapter in his life. We're here tonight to recognize Chief Ron and to say thank you. And to say a big thank you to his family, his wife Leanne, his oldest son Mike, his daughter-in-law Jacqueline, his daughter Kaylee, his son-in-law Frank, his daughter Lindsay, his son-in-law Kevin, and his first granddaughter, Sammy. No pressure, Mike and Kaylee. Clock's ticking. I always believed that we had a unique working relationship that complemented each other, and everyone affected was better off for it. I truly hope the next fire chief and next deputy chief have that same synergistic relationship and build on the foundation that Chief Ron laid. I, along with our entire department, were truly blessed to have Ron as our fire chief. May God bless you and your entire family in your well-deserved retirement. On behalf of the members of the Villa Park Fire Department, I would like to present you with the Certificate of Appreciation And it says, in appreciation for your 10 years of loyal and dedicated service to the Village of Villa Park, we, the members of the Villa Park Fire Department, present this to you in recognition of your many years of leadership on this 24th day of October, 2022. And the village would also like to give you this proclamation that Chief Kazone just mentioned. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I have to tell you, I'm overwhelmed. This is going to be a rough week for me. 40-plus years as a full-time fireman, and I got to turn it off. It's going to be very hard. I'll be with my family, though, my beautiful family, and of course hi Sam, our grandbaby, and hopefully many more to come, like Steve had mentioned. But thank you all. I've had 10 very, very good years here. I really enjoyed myself. I thank the village for allowing me to lead the department for 10 years. A lot of great people here, and I will miss them. I'm not going anywhere, though. I'll be around. I'll probably call Steve once in a while to make sure he's on time. It truly has been a great time in Villa Park. I'm having my party on Thursday at Fire Station 81 at 1 o'clock, where I'll give a probably pretty emotional speech, I'm sure. And then after that, we'll go and have a couple adult beverages. So with that, thank you very much for being here, guys in the back. I love all you guys, and you know it. And of course, my lovely family and my lovely granddaughter, Sammy. So thank you very, very much.
Ron, I didn't know you could be upstaged at your own going away.
And again, we'd like to wish Chief Ron a healthy retirement. He's going to enjoy that. Okay. That we will come to item 4, public comments on agenda items. Do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, actually Reed Goodrich has something to say for agenda. Did you have an agenda item, Reed?
Did you have something on the agenda? A comment on the agenda items?
No, not agenda.
Okay.
Okay, so
Do we have any agenda item comments?
yeah, Joe Arnold for 9G. Joe Arnold? Joe? Yeah, 9G, you said.
Well,
And something else, yeah.
yeah, we were just talking about the bonds, and the manager said that it was just for capital improvements, but that's not what's on the you're talking about debt service, you're paying off old bonds, and that's not just capital improvements. And what if those bonds that you have are a better rate? So you're not going to be selling those off or paying those off?
All the bonds in this series have been over the years for capital improvements. This is, I mean, we can go over and I can have the finance director explain the process of the annual renewal of these bonds. There may be a point at which time it becomes prudent to no longer borrow money and take the gap that we're allowed to borrow towards. We can evaluate that between now and November 14th, when this ordinance or this issue, and I realize this is public comment and we don't usually, I just want to clarify that this resolution on the agenda is to say that we had the public hearing. The final approval will be in a few weeks.
Right, but I mean, we asked and you said it's for capital improvements, but it's not just for capital improvements. It's also for paying off debt on other bonds. So that's not the same thing. So
I didn't mean it as a deception, sir. All the bonds in this series have been for capital items.
So
back
when you're looking at this amount of money, you've got all the old bonds lumped into this to try to put them all together in one big bond issue?
Yeah, it's an annual renewal. We could either continue to pay off the bond and get no, and then relinquish the amount of borrowing that we can do. It's something that is typically done in Illinois municipalities. I don't want to, I mean, there's a bit of an explanation. I don't know if you want me to go into it all, but I'd be happy to call you back and give you a full explanation if you want to leave
I
some
mean, it's-
information.
If this thing passes, then they're definitely just gonna pay off the old ones and have it all lumped into one big one?
Yeah.
Even if,
Yes.
even if the debt service would be better on the other ones? Or how do you, I'm not sure what you're
Well, we'd
saying.
have to pay the full note, right? Their annual. Would you
Oh,
like
you have to
give-
pay it off no matter what? The old debt,
Correct. Yeah,
right?
Chuck, you want to kind of explain the process?
Yeah, just a note here. These issuances.
Sit
are-
on. We can't hear
Am
you.
I not far, close enough? These are annual, as we said, issuances. We have bonds that are out there for various rates. What is on the agenda here is the authority to take a look at where we are to issue these bonds with the terms and the costs and the conditions as they are appropriate. Certainly, the board has all right to evaluate this and make sure that the composite of what we're doing is the correct thing for the village, but it's an opportunity to use the debts that's allowed to us under the limitation laws to satisfy existing obligations, whether it be capital or debt, if it's so chooses.
All right, thank you.
Okay, do we have any other comments on agenda items? Okay, any amendments to the agenda? Anyone on the board make an agenda amendment? Okay, we will move to the consent agenda, item 6A, minutes from the October 10th, 2022 regular meeting of the village board and the committee of the whole meeting. Item 6B, bill listings for the weeks of October 10th and 17th, 2022, in a total amount of $2,954,313.28. Do we have a motion for the consent agenda? Trustee Corkery? We have a second? Trustee Kozar?
Make that
Okay.
second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Okay, trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Murphy? Yes. Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, move to item 7A, reappointment of Joseph D. Antonis to the Historical Preservation Commission, the term May 1st, 2022 to April 30th, 2025. Do we have a motion for the appointment? Trustee Patrick.
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll make the second.
Trustee Kozar. Any questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Okay, trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
yes,
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, item 8A is a first reading of an ordinance to be codified. It's an ordinance amending Article 2 entitled Residential Districts of the zoning ordinance of the Village of Villa Park in order to correct certain Scrivener errors. Manager Harling.
This ordinance will correct certain Scrivener's errors in section 2.6.5, permitted obstructions and encroachments. This is simply a correction of a typographical errors, and if you want more details, we have a series of these. This is the first of several. The next one is also like this, and that is just merely clearing up some textual errors or conflicts between other parts of the ordinance, of the zoning appendix to the village code.
Okay, so this is a first reading. Trustee Kozar.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the second reading for 8A and 8B. They're just Scrivener's errors. I think we can just take them off the table today by waiving the second reading. I don't feel the same way. I want to keep the second reading for C, D, E, and F, but the first two.
So 8A and 8B, so you want to waive the first reading?
Correct.
Okay.
so, that would be appropriate to do, we'll do each one independent. So if you
All right,
have
so I'll make a
moved
motion
for
to
the-
waive, it's the second reading. for
First
8A.
reading.
It's waiving
Waiving the
first
first
reading.
reading.
Waiving first.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion to waive the first reading on 8A. Trustee Patrick?
I'd like to second that.
Okay, questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki.
Okay, Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes,
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, so with that, do we have a motion for the second reading of the ordinance on item 8A?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Kozar, second? I'll second. Trustee Corkery, any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
yes,
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, with that, that passes. Item 8B, an ordinance amending Article 3 entitled Office, Commercial, and Industrial Districts of the zoning ordinance of the Village of Villa Park in order to correct certain Scrivener errors. Major Holland.
This ordinance will correct Scrivener's errors within section 3.2 lot and building regulations, merely striking the word R and the letter R and the word districts.
Okay. Okay, so Trustee Kozar?
I'd like to make a motion to waive the first reading for 8B.
Okay. We have a second on that? Trustee Patrick?
Second that.
Okay, any questions or comments? Clerk Kornecki, call the roll to waive the first reading.
Okay, Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
yes,
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, so we have a motion on the ordinance itself. Trustee Kozar?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a second? Trustee Corkery, any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
yes,
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, so we move on to item 8C. It's an ordinance amending Article 6 entitled Uses of the Zoning Ordinance of the Village of Villa Park regarding accessory uses and structures and temporary uses. Major Harline.
This ordinance will make following amendments to Article 6. In uses, it corrects the language from accessory buildings to accessory structures. It creates a table of bulk regulations and updates setbacks, height, and area requirements for accessory structures, and adds standards for temporary moving and storage containers. We also have staff here and the chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission if there are further questions.
Okay, so again, so this is the first reading. If anyone wants to make a motion to waive it. Okay, seeing none, we have any discussion on this? Trustee Kozar.
Can you explain under HC C1? Scroll back up here. C1 is just prohibiting, the following accessory uses are prohibited. And then it goes to say outdoor parking of trucks, buses, trailers, boats, except as provided in 7.7. Where is that prohibited? Can you just explain where trucks, buses, trailers, boats are prohibited?
I'm gonna.
Yeah,
I-
let's,
Yeah,
Director McLaughlin, would like to, you like to come up, please?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. That's where the microphone is, so we can capture it for the record.
Good evening. Section 7 references parking in residential districts. So Section 7 outlays what you can and cannot do within residential districts regarding parking. So it's a reference back to the parking section, which we have our own code section on that. So it's just a circular reference.
So we're saying you cannot park trucks, buses, trailers, and boats in a residential district?
Correct. I believe that there's an exception for a moving trailer or moving van for a certain number of hours, if I
Right. And
if I
then there's,
recall correctly. But
there's additional parameters in 7.7 regarding RVs, how long they can be in a residential district. So it gives you the exceptions in 7.7. So the code that we're clarifying is the following accessory uses are prohibited, as opposed to prohibited uses, none of the following are allowed. So that's the only thing that's changing. 1 and 2 are not changing. That's not proposed, an proposed amendment. So the exception is in 7.7, and that's in residential districts, such as RVs.
Are we prohibiting trucks? Carpenter with a truck? in
So it's
residential
outdoor
district?
parking of trucks, buses, trailers, or boats is already prohibited, not changing with this amendment. Already prohibited.
So right now in a residential, a carpenter cannot park his truck in his residential driveway, is what you're saying?
I'm saying that in chapter 6, uses, we're only amending the top of half of it. 7.7 references the exceptions that are allowed in residential districts. Trucks and large vehicles are expressly allowed to be parked or stored in the R districts following these parking regulations. So I'm not changing 7.7. I'm only changing the heading of that particular title. The public hearing was not on what should we allow in residential districts. That section is not up for an amendment this evening. It's 7 point, actually, your specific request is 7.7.7. To really lay it in there. Trucks and large vehicles.
I
So,
think that, yeah, our attorney can.
so in order to evaluate what would be prohibited in a residential district or what would be allowed, we are referring to section 7.7 of the zoning ordinance, which is parking in our districts. So with respect to rear yards, there are certain vehicles that can be parked in the rear yard, including motor vehicles, passenger motor vehicles, recreational vehicles, boats, boat trailers, pickup trucks, and vans. And then it designates where you can park in a side yard as well, and regulates parking in side yards. So these vehicles that are listed in this amendment are generally prohibited except as dictated in this section 7.7. So it does allow for these vehicles, these types of vehicles, to be parked in a residential district. And there are varying restrictions as to where on that residential lot they can be parked, whether it's the rear yard or the side yard. And so there are various details in that section .7 that we can look to.
And I don't believe I don't believe that's an attachment to what we received as a board. right?
No,
So
no.
we'll
That's
be able to
correct.
Go back and look that up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
But
and
since we're not gonna pass it today anyway,
Yeah.
we have those 2 weeks to review it.
Yeah, and for the next agenda packet, we can make note that we will include that section 7.7
That's fine.
in the materials, so you'll be able to have access to it.
Thank you.
And that would be for review. 7.7 wasn't up for a public hearing for notification. So there are no future amendments to propose now at 7.7.
And just for example, in 7.7.7c, it says notwithstanding the other regulations of the section, trucks and other service vehicles may be parked in our district temporarily while making deliveries or actively rendering service to a property owner. But this is if you are, like you, I think what you're talking about, if somebody is, that's his trade, can they park their vehicles? And I think that what Melissa said explains where they can park their vehicles if that's their trade.
Okay, we'll just review it before the next week.
So you-
That's
well,
fine.
I would then think we should also put 7.75, which is RV, maybe that whole parking section.
That whole 7, yeah,
Yeah.
7.7 should be enough. Okay. Okay, any other questions or comments on 8C? Okay, seeing none, we will go to item 8D. It's an ordinance amending Article 7 entitled Parking. It's only discussion here. This is,
Oh, okay, we
Yeah.
didn't waive it, that's right.
yeah, correct.
Sorry.
Ordinance amending Article 7 entitled Parking of the zoning ordinance of the Village of Villa Park regarding driveways and parking areas. Mayor DeHarline.
Yes, this ordinance will make the following amendments to Article 7 in parking. This amendment amending the allowable width of a driveway and cross-referencing Table 2.2-3 and updates the standards for pavement.
Okay. Again, this is discussion only, if anyone wants to waive it. Okay, seeing none. Anyone have any comments on 8D? Trustee Kozar.
Under 7.8.5 circular drives, how necessary is it to mandate that people have to have evergreen shrubs parked on their driveway? Seems kind of restrictive, overreaching on government's purpose to have those. Is a circular driveway that unsightly that it has to be hidden? Does anybody, I mean, this is a question for anybody on the board.
Actually, you know what, let's bring up Jason, he's the chairman of the commission.
Before Jason goes, just clarification, current code is requiring at least 25% of the circular drive. This is making it along the entire distance. So that's the difference.
Yeah, I could be wrong on this, but if I recall, does that also not specify evergreen?
Evergreen is
Okay, is it?
currently allowed.
And that was a request that came to us from staff. I think that may go back to Patrick Grill. Original conversations on that. And I think generally speaking, the way circular driveways can be laid out, it places them in front yards in a way that a typical driveway is not, where you could have 3 or 4 cars lined up in front of a house around a circular drive. And this is a way of sort of screening that from the street, not so much the driveway as the vehicles that are parked there. That's the intent of that. That's why it was there originally at 25%. That was something that staff has long thought should be more than the 25%. And that's why it's there. And it specifies evergreen because evergreen are a type of shrub that don't die off in the winter and continue to screen year round. So that's the intent behind that.
So I would just propose removing that and not mandating a requirement to have the evergreen shrubs under that one.
Are you removing D or keeping it as is, as in removing this amendment?
Removing D.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that would be for the next, a motion next week.
No, he could make the motion now that we prepare the ordinance for approval at the
Yeah.
next board meeting to remove that item D from section 785.
Okay. So you're making that motion?
Yes, I am.
Okay, do we have a second on it? Trustee Patrick,
Mr. President, I'd like to second that.
any questions or comments? Trustee Solella.
I understand the explanation for having it, but there seems to be more there. I don't recall it just being for blocking the view of vehicles. There was, and for the life of me, I can't recall what it was, but there was another purpose for this screening of the inner circle of a drive, other than blocking view of vehicles.
It's possible goes back a long ways.
Yeah,
So,
because I recall having this proposed to us before, and there was a logical explanation to it on top of exposure of the vehicles. And,
yeah, this one I don't specifically remember if there was additional.
okay.
I mean, we had unanimous consent of the unanimous vote of the commission. That was not one that was.
You have to go.
Jason, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, there was not a split vote or anything on this particular item for the commission. It was, it's been unanimous every time it's come up, including, I think we probably had turnover in the board, in the commission since it initially came up as well. It's one we voted on it on more than once, I believe.
Jason, if you don't mind, I forget. I'm used to push to talk as opposed to not talk. If the staff were to try and find notes on what the discussion on this was, do you have an idea where we would want to look? So that I think
I could look
it's
back.
important to provide
Off the top of my
that.
head, no, but I've got a ton of email on this, and
Yeah.
I could probably narrow it down to a month or two for going back through the agendas.
And I have no strong feeling one way or another about evergreen shrubs and circular driveways. But I just want to make sure that the discussions of the Planning and Zoning Commission are honored and brought forth, because without that context, it could be, it might get lost if there was more logic behind it. And I think, if you don't mind, sir,
Typically, if we're going to do a circular drive, when I've seen this in other codes, it's to block headlights.
I'm sorry?
To block the headlights as the vehicle's coming around the other direction instead of backing out like a traditional driveway. This is now the headlights are now facing the street, so you provide a low shrub. The concern with this is that it doesn't specify on the interior or the exterior of the curb. So meeting the letter of this code, they can put it on the closest to the house side, and it's not serving the purpose. It's not the best word, well-written section. I'm not opposed to D going away.
Okay.
Doesn't section C identify it being on the interior radius of the circular drive?
That's the dimension for the drive, not specifying the location of the landscaping.
For 30 feet. Okay, so it doesn't,
Right. I can't use C to regulate D.
got it, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Reneke, please call the roll on the motion to remove 7.8.5D.
Okay, trustee Silella?
No.
Trustee Murphy?
No.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
President Kazone?
And I vote no on that one.
Okay. Three.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Correct, it, 3-3, it failed to get the majority, so the motion to remove it failed at this stage.
And, unless you want to propose something later on, as you go into here, if you're.
For second read?
No, I mean, just down the road.
Oh, understood.
Something to look at later.
Got it.
Okay. Okay, so with that, we will go to item 8E. It's an ordinance amending Article 9 entitled Site Design and Performance Standards of the zoning ordinance of the Village of Villa Park regarding landscaping and screening in intersections. Major Harline.
This ordinance will make the following amendments to Article 9, Site Design and Performance Standards, by creating the availability to review site triangle requirements in certain commercial and mixed-use districts instead of exempting those districts, and allows for determination to be made when a conflict arises within the code regarding screening. And I think Mark's here to answer questions. I believe it gives there's some places where it gives the Director of Community Development some authority to make these approvals in certain circumstances where it is basically just a technical issue. So with that, I'll turn the back to you.
Okay. Okay, again, this is a first reading. If anyone wants to waive the first reading? Okay, seeing none, any questions or discussion on this? Okay. Seeing none, we will go to item 8F. An ordinance amending Article 14 of the zoning ordinance of the Village of Villa Park regarding various measurements and definitions. Manager Harlan.
This ordinance will make the following amendments to Article 14. Oh, this one also is a Scrivener's error. With the measurements and definitions, corrects Scrivener's errors within the section, updates the encroachment table, actually, and more, updates the encroachment table and clarifies and adds definitions. So it's more than just a Scrivener's error issue.
Okay. Okay, do we have any questions or comments on item 8F? Okay, seeing none, no discussion there, we will go to item 8G. An ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the village code regarding membership of the Historical Preservation Commission. Manager Harlan.
In March of 2021, the board reduced the size of the Historical Preservation Commission from 5 to 3 members, in part due to the difficulty in getting quorum at meetings, particularly as COVID pandemic spread. This would restore the membership to, and that should be 5 members. That's what's in the ordinance. This has been recommended by Trustee Patrick and also by Commission Chair Carol Marcus. There is currently no one listed. By the way, there's also currently no one listed as the board liaison in the staff record. Staff recommends passage of the ordinance.
Okay. Okay, again, this is first reading, unless someone wants to waive it. Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to waive the first reading.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Corkery? Okay. Any questions or comments on waiving the first reading? Okay, seeing none. Clerk Kornecki, please.
Okay, trustee Silella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy? Yes. Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
President Kazal?
Yes.
If I could make one more quick comment about that, the 2 positions created in order to get the terms properly staggered, one would go to April 30, 2025, and one would go to April 30, 2023, and ideally it would be somebody who'd be willing to reapply. So, okay, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so we waived the first reading. Do we have a motion on the ordinance itself? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Corkery? Any questions or comments on the ordinance? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Silella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy? Yes. Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
President Kazal?
Yes. Okay, item 9A is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, establishing the regular meeting dates of the Village Board of Trustees, the regular meeting dates of the Committee of the Whole, and the holiday schedule for the calendar year 2023. Manager Harlan.
The Villa Park Municipal Code contains references to meetings and holidays. On an annual basis, the Board of Trustees establishes and approves a schedule of meetings of the Village of Villa Park Board of Trustees, Committee of the Whole, as well as Village's annual holiday schedule. Staff recommends that the present Board of Trustees pass the resolution to establish the holidays and meeting dates of the Village Board of Trustees and Committee of the Whole for the 2023 calendar year. I will point out that if the board wishes to amend, staff has some opinions about if you wanted to add another holiday. If I be so bold as to, in terms of the distribution of holidays in the calendar and fatigue and relief, the President's Day holiday would interrupt the largest stretch, which is currently between January 1st and Memorial Day, between holidays. I know that many arguments can be made for a variety of different holidays. The state of Illinois claims 3 people, 4 if you count, Grant, Lincoln, and Obama, who ostensibly came from Illinois most recently when they were elected, and of course Ronald Reagan was born in Illinois. And when it comes to protection of civil rights, Grant and Lincoln have a strong history, especially when it comes to the rights of people who had been enslaved before 1861 or 1865. So you can make a lot of arguments, but in terms of just splitting up the time, if you were going to add one, that was my argument for President's Day. I am not offended in any other way if you don't want to add any, or if you want to add a different one. And I'm done.
Okay, thank you.
I yield back the time.
Okay. Do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, would I be able to make that motion to add President's Day to this list?
Yeah, sure.
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion to add President's Day. We have a second on that?
I have a question or comment. Am I too early for that?
Pardon me?
I have a question or a comment with respect to which holiday gets added.
Okay, well, let's get the second on this. Trustee Corker, you'll second that. Okay, go ahead. Trustee Murphy.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with President's Day, but it falls 1 month after New Year's, which still leaves 3 months between President's Day and Memorial Day. Is there nothing in March to split that up? Better?
Not a federally recognized holiday that I'm aware of.
There's no federal recognized, boy,
I
they're
don't,
all,
I don't
they have
think
them.
St. Patrick's Day is a federally recognized holiday.
In some areas it is, yeah.
I don't have a problem with it, it just splits it out better.
Well, it's a month and it's almost 2 months after New Year's. New Year's, thank you, and 3 months from.
It's the only state holiday. I mean, there's Martin Luther King, Lincoln, and President's Day in between New Year's and Memorial Day.
Nothing after that, wow. Okay.
Suzanne, how about, how does that affect our meeting schedule?
President's Day falls on February 21st. So
That'd be between. That'd be the
Monday the
third.
20th, right?
yes. So we would be okay.
Okay, so we're good there. Okay.
Yes. Oh, no, I lied. Sorry, I was looking at 2022. It will fall on Monday, February 20th.
Which would be the third Monday.
So we
Third
would have
Monday,
to-
yeah.
yeah.
So we'd be okay there. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions or comments? Trustee Kozar?
So what would we be voting to do for the holiday? Are we closing down effectively the government of Villa Park for that day and giving everybody a holiday? Is
That would
the
affect.
motion on the table here?
I mean, all the people who. Oh, sorry, yeah, all the people who have where we have to stay open 24/7 would get. There would be a cost to it. So police, fire, there would be. They would be paid. They would have a holiday. However, their union contract pays them or reimburses them for a holiday, they would get that. So there would be a cost to it. I'm sorry, I did not get that number before we came to. I can get that to you, but there would be a cost to the village of adding another holiday. For the other is the rest of the employees would not come to work that day, and so you would lose a day of productivity from the rest of the village. But I think that we have very few holidays compared to other political entities and other villages. So I would not recommend this if I didn't think that we had a shortage of holidays compared to others. I'm not. Suzanne will tell you she had that I was not the first advocate for this among the staff, but I do think I do think it sends a good message.
Trustee Murphy?
So if we agree to add this, can we still pass this resolution, or does it have to get revised and come back?
We would revise it here, right, and then it would
Yes,
be
so,
added to it.
so what's on the table right now is a motion to amend the resolution to add the President's Day holiday to the list of holidays. If that's approved, then you would take action on the resolution as amended.
Trustee Kozar?
I'm not fundamentally opposed to putting forth a new holiday, but I do think that our residents should at least know what the cost of our vote is, and be able to state that, if that means just pushing it out to the next meeting to get that information.
I don't know that has. Next meeting is November 14th. Is it going to affect any major schedule to push it out to the 14th? No. We'll be fine. It'd be
We
fine.
could vote for it the way that it is, and
No.
then just come back and make an amendment in 2 weeks or whatever it takes to add that holiday. It doesn't have to all be in one.
I would recommend if you're going to postpone, you could make a motion to postpone it altogether and to be considered at the next regular meeting of the village board.
Is there any benefit to postponing it versus just voting yes for what we have here and then determining if we want to add another holiday and just being informed and letting the residents know that?
Well, there's a motion to amend the resolution on the table right now, so you'd have to essentially vote that down and then vote for the resolution as originally proposed.
Melissa, I'm sorry, could they, yeah, I guess, I mean, that we could do one, we could amend it and then postpone as amended.
Would you like, go ahead.
Mr. President, I would like to withdraw my original motion and make a motion to postpone 9A until our next stated meeting.
Okay, so we have a motion to table 9A until our next board meeting, November...
November 14th.
November 14th, correct, thank you. November 14th, so we, okay.
In the meantime, we will get word back of how much this would cost our residents.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do we have a second for that motion? Okay, seeing no second,
I'll give you a second.
okay, all right, so we have a second. All right, any
Who's the
discussion?
second? Who's the second?
Trustee Solel.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions or comments? Trustee Kozar.
I would just propose that we vote on 9A the way that it is and come back on a separate issue of just that one holiday.
Well, we got a motion out here, you know, to table it. So we either vote on it or, you know, it's.
There's no-
it's probably, I would prefer just doing it if we're gonna table, if we're gonna discuss it at the next meeting, let's just table it so we don't have two ordinances we have to do.
Yeah.
Easier just to table it, pass it at the next one.
As opposed to creating a separate resolution.
We only have to pass it by the end of the year, calendar year, so we have plenty of time. It's
Yeah.
just, this is when we have historically done it. So we can just postpone it and have a very clean version with all the information for the board.
And if we're gonna, I mean, I don't know if you guys usually like to list out a year ahead of time the coffee with the board, we could also add that to the list of meetings, which is not on this agenda, because I guess that's not what we have done in the past, but we could add coffee with the board to the next, okay. All right, we'll get that ready for the 14th with a cost estimate for the adding the holiday.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so this is a motion to table 9A to November 14th. Okay. Clerk Konecki, please.
Okay, trustee Corkery,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Murphy, yes, trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Solella,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 9B is a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a memorandum of understanding between the Village of Villa Park and the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency. Do we have a motion for the MOU? Trustee Patrick.
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Corkery? Any questions or discussions?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
It appears to me that we need an amendment on the date passed and approved. The resolution is reading passed and approved September 12th.
I think that will be, that'll be changed, right? Clerk Konecki, when you do the ordinance?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
It'll be corrected when it's printed out.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Konecki, please.
Okay, trustee Solella,
Yes.
trustee Murphy, Yes. trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Corkery,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay, item 9C is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a contract with Globe Construction, Inc. of Addison, Illinois, for construction of the 2022 sidewalk program in an amount not to exceed $49,997. Manager Harlan.
The replacement of substandard sidewalk, public sidewalk at various locations throughout the village is proposed as part of the 2022 sidewalk program. Globe Construction was the lowest bidder for a competitive joint bidding process held by the village of Woodridge in 2022. The terms and conditions of the 2022 competitive joint bid will be carried forward to the village of Villa Park. Globe Construction has performed satisfactory work for previous sidewalk programs in the village. Staff recommends approval of a contract with Globe Construction, Inc. of Addison, Illinois for construction of the 2022 sidewalk program in an amount not to exceed $49,997. Funds for the sidewalk program are budgeted in the CY 2022 Capital Project Fund, account number 64.502.10.299. This item does satisfy the short-term complex strategic plan goal. And Public Works Director Guerrero is here to answer any questions. And yield back.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for item 9C? Trustee Murphy,
I'll make that motion.
do we have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Solella, any questions, comments? Trustee Kozar.
Is the joint bidding process where companies bid for multiple municipalities and then are awarded a job and then it breaks down?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I'll let
Director Guerrero.
Correct. There's two forms, and then this one has both. It's multiple municipalities joined in on this bid, and then they provide language in there that these prices can be extended to other municipalities if so choose by the contractor, which is the case here. So these prices were obtained competitively, so we can utilize that according to our code to satisfy the competitive bid process.
Benefit to the village, of course, is the efficiency of not having to set up our own process and go through all the pieces and take the staff time. So.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Clerk Reneke, please.
Okay, Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Solella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy? Yes. Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
President Casone?
Yes. Item 9D is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving an engineering services agreement with Civil Tech Engineering, Inc. of Itasca, Illinois for Phase 1 preliminary engineering of the Villa Avenue Improvement Project in an amount not to exceed $181,984. Manager Harlan.
The Villa Avenue Improvement Project is proposed in the Village of Villa Park's Capital Improvement Program. The project's objective is to improve the condition of the roadway by means of selected pavement rehabilitation methods. The project's preliminary engineering budget is budgeted in the CY 2022 budget, and staff would like to proceed with the preliminary engineering efforts. Staff recommends approval of an engineering services agreement with Civil Tech Engineering, Inc. of Itasca, Illinois for Phase 1 preliminary engineering of the Villa Avenue Improvement Project in an amount not to exceed $181,984. Funding for this agreement will be from the Street Improvement and TIP4 funds, and we will be coordinating on this project with, yeah, okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't, there are a couple of different Villa Avenue projects with Elmhurst, who this adjoins Elmhurst, and some of this will actually involve the bike trail, the
Tri-Trail.
the Salt Creek Trail thing.
Okay, cool, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for item 9D? Trustee Patrick.
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
We have a second? Trustee Solella? Questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Reneke, please.
Okay, Trustee Murphy? Yes. Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Solella?
Yes.
President Casone?
Yes. Okay, item 9E is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing the village's 2023 Employee Health Insurance Program. Manager Harlan.
Agreements with the village health insurance providers expire on December 31, 2022, as every year. For 2023, staff recommends the village continue medical coverage with Blue Cross Blue Shield with an overall decrease of 1.1%. Staff also recommends continuing ancillary benefits of dental, vision, and life insurance to Sun Life for a slight increase for dental and vision premiums. Additional voluntary life will be offered to employees through Sun Life at no cost to the village. Employee wellness programs through CHC Wellness and Virgin Plus And the Employees Assistance Program through Linden Oaks Behavioral Health will continue in 2023. The flexible spending account and Cobra administration will continue with WEX Inc. at no additional cost. Staff recommends approval of this resolution. We did go through, we have a broker, they did analyze several different options, and overall, this was the best option. Also, one of the advantages of this process, and if you have questions, Suzanne McVeigh is the, I swear I was going to say Suzanne. Suzanne McVeigh is the resident expert on this, and also I should say that we had some glitches in last year's system because for the first time everyone had to make an active participation. This reduces the number of people who have to take active steps, and only if they want to make changes in their coverage, which we believe will work much better with the staff and cause fewer points of friction.
Thank you. We have a motion. Trustee Patrick.
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Corkery? Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Murphy? Yes. Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
President Casal?
Yes. Item 9F is a resolution authorizing the village manager to approve purchase orders for vehicles and equipment included in the fiscal year 2022 and fiscal year 2023 replacement schedule before bringing these purchases forward to the council for final approval. Manager Harling.
This resolution would allow the village manager and myself to issue purchase order for any vehicle or equipment that cannot be purchased by the traditional budget bid buy sequence in a timely fashion. This includes issuing a purchase order for an item that was either not budgeted but will be in the next adopted budget and will not be delivered until the next budget year, or items in the current budget year for which insufficient funds were budgeted or are and therefore available, but will not be available until the next budget year. Current wait times and short order windows have made traditional purchasing practices inadequate in the current market. Staff urges adoption of this policy. We have several examples of unique, usually, or high-cost items that have that were budgeted, like a F-35 350 plow in Public Works that was budgeted originally at $40,000 and is now $65,000, so we are short the money. It will not arrive until well into the next calendar, which is the same thing as a fiscal year. So, but we may lose that window of opportunity to bid for that, or to request that a vehicle be constructed for us until next year if we don't act. And the other examples in the memo that I sent out are in similar situations.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for 9F? Trustee Corkery. A second, Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Any questions, comments? Trustee Solella.
Is there a dollar cap on that?
We could put one on there, but some of the equipment is fairly expensive, and I will bring it back to you the following meeting. We are not going to, we know what we can afford in the future year. We've looked at that. For instance, this is similar to how we bought the fire truck last year. We put $325 aside. We have something like a sinking fund for fire trucks. So there was already some money set aside, but we weren't going to get to the $698,000 to buy the entire truck. We will budget the rest of the money in next year's budget. We can put a cap on it, but I would, there's the total cost for the vehicle. I would say that the important thing would be the total cost per item into the next budget year. The issue is being able to act on something that will not, where we may have to put things back a year. One example is the Vector truck, which I guess if you need further examples, I can give them to you, but that would be my recommendation. If you want to put a dollar limit, I'd put it in the amount that exceeds what's budgeted in this current fiscal year. And I haven't really thought about what a cap on it would be, but I'd have to think about that.
I think the main thing is that we would vote on it, the purchase anyway, down the road.
I'm just trying to put it side by side with
Yeah.
the cap that's been placed on him for other purchasing.
Yeah.
That's the purpose for this resolution, so that the manager can actually process, or begin the ordering process in order to allow for these purchases to get into the queue. The village will have the authority to back out of that purchase, and the purchase would not, the actual purchase would not occur until the village board had approval. But this would allow the manager the ability to do that without respect to that $25,000 cap in the village code.
Right. So, and I would ask that you specifically allow for the items that are listed in this memo.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Trustee Corkery?
So this is somewhat related to the supply chain problems that are ongoing. That's why
Yes,
we're having.
directly,
Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Plus the way prices are increasing, you know, I think a couple of items that we've done this year, if we didn't do it, it'd cost us, 20-30% more.
So I was just thinking maybe in lieu of the spending cap, if the board is concerned, we could set it so this comes back up in a year and we look at it again in a year, and if things are better, it's not so hard to buy vehicles.
Well,
maybe
this is
we'll
strictly for 2022, 2023.
Oh, it is
Yeah.
strictly.
Isn't it?
Well, I think it actually, Trustee Corkery's point is well taken. I don't think it specifically ends. I don't think there's an end on.
The approval
Yeah.
is for equipment included in the fiscal year 2022
Okay.
and 2023 replacement
Okay.
schedule.
Yeah, so that it will, after next year, if we wanted to do it again, we would have to pass another ordinance like this. A resolution like this.
Oh, you're right. Yep.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Hey, Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy? Yes. President Kazal?
Yes. Item 9G, a resolution concerning a hearing required to be held pursuant to the Bond Issue Notification Act of the State of Illinois prior to the sale of general obligation limited tax bonds, Series 2022B of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois. Manager Harline.
Yes, the village held a public hearing on October 24th, 2022 regarding the sale of general obligation limited tax bonds, Series 2022B. The hearing commenced at 6:45 and closed at 6:51 p.m. this evening. This resolution confirms the hearing was conducted, public comment was heard, and the board deems it in the best interest of the village that the non-referendum general obligation limited bonds that I think there's a verb missing there. Once approved, an ordinance selling the bonds will be presented to the board at the November 14th board meeting.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for this resolution? Trustee Kozar?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Corkery. Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy? Yes. Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
President Kazal?
Yes. Okay, item 10, public comments on non-agenda items. Clerk Kornecki, do we have anyone signed up?
Yes. The first one is Larry Hebert.
Hello, thank you, everyone, and thank you for all that you do for our village. I have to get in my 3 minutes, I think, but anyways, in June, I called the village because we have sidewalk and a tree problem. I didn't take any names. They said someone would call me back. That has never happened. I called again on September 30th, after we already contacted a private company, thought we got to get these sidewalks fixed, even if we have to pay for it. They won't touch it because it's a village sidewalk. So, at 802 South Villa, corner of Villa and Madison, we have a tree that has dropped twice, branches about 14 to 16 inches. One of them was on a Friday night, about 5:30, and I called the village and I was told there's no one available till Monday. This closed off Madison Street at Villa. So myself and two neighbors got our chainsaws and we cut the thing up, and that was the end of it. The other one we had taken down because it was over our house. And we paid a guy $150 in a bucket to come and pick it up. We'd really like somebody from the village to come and look at this one particular tree. It's a sycamore tree, and we are more sick of it all the time. The other thing is we have about 16 blocks of sidewalk cement. They're not broken, they're sunk. And it's to such an extent that I can guarantee you at least 12 people have fallen, including myself, because it is about that deep in front of our house between the grass. So it's pure, it's a beautiful ice skating pond for those 16 or 17 blocks. But people fall because we have a busy corner and people walk a lot. So I would really, and I was told that the sidewalk program in June, I was told that that's filled, but that someone would call me and we'll see about the problem for next year. We really just need them raised. I don't know if we have a program for that. We don't need a lot of replacement, but we'd really like to see people not falling. And this tree, which is, it looks pretty good, but it's dropping these branches.
Okay.
So,
Well, yeah, well, I'm sure Director Guerrero will take a look at that, or have staff out there.
good, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Not
Yes, I believe Reed, Goodrich wanted to speak, yes.
Hello. Continuing from when I was here previously, let me answer a question that I believe was asked, and that all the issues that I discuss here have already been presented to staff. Okay, this is not the first presentation. The problem is that the responses have either, in my opinion, been inadequate, and sometimes, none at all. The issue the last time was regarding the fence up at the new parking lot there by the train station, and my concern that the contractor would, shortcut and not do the best job possible. And 2 days later, I get a call from Mr. Nick from Hawthorne. He says he wants my approval to work on the fence line. And, I'd already talked to staff about this fence and what's going to happen to the bushes that have grown up there as volunteers. Mulberry and buckthorn are common. And I asked him, what are you going to do with them? Because I'm going to cut them down. And I let it go at that. And I followed up again with staff. And I said, this is going to be a problem 2 or 3 years from now. You're going to have all these bushes now that are got to come back. It's going to, like I said, distort the fence. And now you've got all this scrub and brush, to deal with. And the only answer I got at the time, in fact, 3 times, or at least 2, was, well, there won't be any obstructions to when the fence goes in. Well, I said, yeah, you can cut them down, but 2 years, 3 years later, now you got another problem. Well, there won't be any obstructions when the fence goes down. Well, I went back to Mr. Nick and I said, I'm not going to sign your work rights until you dig those out. He says, well, first of all, nobody's going to tell me what to do. Okay. But he was honest, and he said, yeah, but it's not my problem. He knew they were going to grow back, and he knew it was going to be a maintenance issue, and he said, your tax dollars at work 3 years from now. He knows exactly what he was doing. He was taking the path of least resistance, getting the thing in, waiting for somebody to sign off on it, because nobody in the city seems to understand the problem.
30 seconds.
All right. So, I hope this isn't an example of how the city makes decisions, shortcut, get it checked off without looking at the long-term, implications of these types of things, because I don't know exactly who's monitoring what Hawthorne is doing.
Yeah, that one started late, but we'll give you a few more.
All right. But it's clearly not an optimum decision for the use of the taxpayers' funds.
Okay. We'll definitely hit somebody, take a look at that.
Oh, by the way, there's still time. It was 2 weeks ago when I talked to him, and he said nothing was going to start. It was a week and a half. He said nothing's going to start for 2 weeks, pardon me. So,
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else non-agenda items?
I think Joe Arnold wanted to speak one more time.
My name's Joe Arnold. I live at 133 North Ardmore. I have a little issue right by my driveway. When Ardmore was rebuilt years back, I never had a drain right at the edge of my driveway. And at that time, I had asked the village if they would replace my apron with concrete because the asphalt's not going to work. And twice, the village actually had to come out there when this hole caved in. There was a 2-foot deep hole because our cars have to drive over this grate. I got pictures of it here. And sometimes the snowplow slams on it. They took a big chunk of metal out of it and it was sticking up. And my daughter ended up driving over with her car and got a nice hole in the tire with it. And I never knew what it was when I had it fixed. And then when I got home, I saw this chunk missing, and that's the piece what it was. And this was some years ago. And I'd like to redo my apron, but I don't think doing it in asphalt is going to work because it's just going to sink in again later if you have dirt back there. I got pictures of this. This is for Public Works. I'd like to do something in concrete if I could, but I think I'd like the village to look at it because there's a sewer and manhole right there on my driveway. And I can swing out a little further and turn, and of course my daughters, they always drive over that thing. There's no way they can do it. And 2 weeks after, when I complained, they put a no parking sign on the other end of my driveway. So now I got negotiate that. So you really can't swing out too far. But I'm just concerned that it's going to cave in again, and the plow is probably going to hit it too. I also noticed, I don't know if we got some new plow drivers, but when they come down in the winter sometimes, I was actually doing the whole block on the sidewalk when a plow came by, and this guy must have been going 30 miles an hour. He splattered that snow halfway into my front yard. And that's kind of dangerous. It almost knocked me down. And I don't think those guys should be going that fast because they're just going to cover up the whole sidewalk I just cleared. So I don't know if they have a speed limit or not, but I know sometimes they're in a hurry. But my main conclusion is this, so if you're with the Public Works, if you could look at this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else?
That's all, no.
Okay. Anyone else that would like to speak? Okay. Go to item 11, Village Clerk Report.
Okay, just one thing, these Kiwanis will be holding their annual spaghetti dinner fundraiser at Willowbrook on Friday, November 4th. This is from 5 in the evening till 6:45. And as I say, it is a fundraiser. There's also a gift card raffle that goes on. And we encourage folks, if they want to come out, to also stay for the play at Willowbrook. That's they're doing this year's Anything Goes, and that follows at 7 o'clock right after the dinner. So it's a very nice evening, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go to item 12, Village Trustees Report. I'll start on my right. Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Just a reminder that this weekend, the Villa Park Junior Women's Club will be hosting the Trick or Trot 5K race on the Prairie Path. It's a lot of fun, and there's still time to register to get out there and run or walk. Lastly, I just would like to encourage everybody that can make it to Chief Ron's retirement party this Thursday, October 27th, from 1 to 3 p.m. at Station 81 on Ardmore. Let's all get together and give him a good sending off. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Kozar.
I just want to wish Chief Ron a good retirement. Thank you for all that you contributed to Villa Park. You're a good man.
Trustee Solella.
Also, Chief Ron, congrats. Welcome to the club. Get a hobby. It's lonely out there. And we'll see you at your retirement party. Also, I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and hopefully a safe one. Thanksgiving, Halloween. Excuse me. I'm thinking about the bird already.
You're just ahead of your,
a little bit.
Planning.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Thanks. Okay. Trustee Corkery.
I'll just say once again, happy retirement to Chief Prokosnik, and thanks for everything, and miss having you here.
Trustee Murphy.
I have no report, thank you.
Okay. Village President's Report, I got a couple things. VFW in Villa Park will have their Halloween fundraiser this Saturday. I believe it's from 5 to 10. They've got a band starting at 6 o'clock. They'll have food. It should be a good time. The VFW will also be celebrating Veterans Day on November 11th. At 11 o'clock, they'll have a little ceremony. They are combining it with Oak Brook Terrace this year, so should be a nice presentation. They always do a nice job there. As Trustee Solella said, Thanksgiving's coming up, but it's time for the Dan Gibbons Turkey Trot in Elmhurst, which will be Thanksgiving morning, 9 o'clock. Pre-registration is now. You can go online, dangibbonsturkeytrot.org, and pre-registration will be at the Knights of Columbus Hall on November 19th and 20th from 11 o'clock till 4 o'clock. So if you want to sign up in person and pick up your packages, you can do that then. And finally, again, congratulations, Chief Ryan. We're going to miss you, but I'm sure you'll be coming back once in a while. So congratulations. Okay, item 14, Village Manager's Report.
Three quick things. First, with a script that was largely developed by the main proponent of this, Chief Rivas, we are pleased to announce the village has actually been awarded as a recipient of the DuPage Community Transformational Grant. I think everybody knows this is coming. Several communities and entities who receive grant funds from DuPage County for social service initiatives. For the next 2 years, Villa Park will receive social service assistance from the Northeast DuPage Family and Youth Services for a multitude of social service issues. You made this a tongue twister. I didn't really rehearse this. Like substance abuse, domestic violence, and people experience mental health crisis. We are excited to be able to offer this valuable service to the community with the aid of this grant. And specifically, the weekend report that Chief Rivas presents me with, he highlighted of the 41 items that he noted in that report, 13 of them could possibly have been helped by this service. So this is a much needed service in the community, and all the way up to the federal government ARPA funds. We appreciate everyone, Tri-Town Y, the District 45, NEDFIS, if I'm getting my acronyms right, and everyone else who's contributed to this process. We're looking forward to this grant. It could be a game changer in this field, and working with the fire department also, who is often the first person to encounter some of these people in crisis. So, two, I'll be bringing forth a resolution to sell an easement to Verizon at our Hill Street facility. My plan is to bring it without appraisal. It'd be about $3,000. It would help them with a underground fiber optic cable. I'm just telling you tonight so that if anyone has a problem to doing it without appraisal for that small amount of money, it would be not very wise. It would be at least 10% of the cost of the process, probably, not 10, 5% of the cost of the entire easement would be eaten up in the appraisal process plus time. And then I just want to put you on notice that there's the Arrow trucking project. We may be bringing forward a annexation to go along with that, and look forward to working with the elected officials, staff, and everyone to move that through as quickly as possible. A small portion of that project is actually on ground that is outside of the village limits at this point, and would be greatly assisted if we could. They own the land, but it is outside of the village, and we're going to try and not slow down their process of the building they're building, the business that they're bringing to town. Just want to make you aware of that, and the public aware of that. So
the old Odeum
the old Odeum property. Don't want to do any of this secretly or in anything like that, but we do want to make it go through quickly because it is completely uncontested. They own the large piece of property and the small piece of property. So, thank you. And that's it. Thank you.
All right. One last thing that I did forget, Coffee with the Board will be November 5th this year, or next month, 9 o'clock up here. So Coffee with the Board, November 5th.
Follow. With a picture to follow.
With a picture to follow, correct.
At the golf course.
Right. Item 15, executive session. We don't have Anything for executive session tonight? So item 16, we'll take a motion to adjourn. If I'll stay, huh? Okay. Trustee Solella, we have a second? Trustee Kozar, all in favor? Aye. Aye, great. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you November 5th at coffee, or November 14th?
November 7th.